Hi everyone, and welcome to my video on the history of Japan. Japan is a country with a rich and fascinating history, dating back over 10,000 years. In this video, I'll give you a brief overview of some of the key events and periods in Japanese history. The Jomon period. The earliest known inhabitants of Japan were the Jomon people, who lived from around 10,000 to 300 BCE. The Jomon people were hunter-gatherers who lived in simple pit houses. They were skilled in making pottery, and their culture was rich in symbolism. The Yayoi period. The Yayoi period began around 300 BCE, and it was a time of great change in Japan. During this period, Japan was introduced to rice cultivation, metalworking, and writing. The Yayoi people also built the first large cities in Japan. The Kofun period. The Kofun period began around 300 CE, and it was a time of great political and military consolidation in Japan. During this period, Japan was ruled by a series of powerful clans, and large burial mounds were built for the elite. The Asuka period. The Asuka period began around 550 CE, and it was a time of great cultural and religious change in Japan. During this period, Japan was introduced to Buddhism and Confucianism, and the Japanese language was standardized. The Nara period. The Nara period began around 710 CE, and it was a time of great political and economic development in Japan. During this period, Japan was ruled by a centralized government, and the capital was moved to Nara. The Heian period. The Heian period began around 794 CE, and it was a time of great cultural and artistic achievement in Japan. During this period, Japan's capital was moved to Kyoto, and the Japanese court became a center of learning and refinement. The Kamakura period. The Kamakura period began around 1185 CE, and it was a time of military rule in Japan. During this period, the shogun, or military leader, became the de facto ruler of Japan. The Muromachi period. The Muromachi period began around 1333 CE, and it was a time of political instability in Japan. During this period, Japan was divided into a number of warring states. The Edo period. The Edo period began around 1603 CE, and it was a time of peace and prosperity in Japan. During this period, Japan was ruled by the Tokugawa shogunate, and the capital was moved to Edo, modern-day Tokyo. The Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration began in 1868 CE, and it was a time of great political and social change in Japan. During this period, Japan was reunited under the emperor, and the country embarked on a program of modernization. The Taisho period. The Taisho period began in 1912 CE, and it was a time of relative peace and stability in Japan. During this period, Japan became a major world power, and it played a significant role in World War I. The Showa period. The Showa period began in 1926 CE, and it was a time of great upheaval in Japan. During this period, Japan invaded China and other parts of Asia, and it eventually became involved in World War II. The post-war period. The post-war period began in 1945 CE, and it has been a time of great economic and social development in Japan. During this period, Japan has become a leading economic power, and it has also become a major cultural and technological center. That's just a brief overview of the history of Japan. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I encourage you to learn more about this fascinating country. Thanks for watching.